There is a secret known by the world's most magnetic women, a secret unrelated to outward beauty, wealth, or youth. It's something delicate, yet immensely powerful, and if you embody it even once, he will choose you despite having 1,000 other options. Have you ever asked yourself why some women possess an inexplicable magnetism? Why men who once seemed indifferent suddenly turn toward them the way sunflowers track the sun? The answer isn't found in the old advice you've always heard. It isn't about playing hard to get, running games, or striving for perfection. The truth goes much deeper, into something profoundly primal. Walter Riso, one of Latin America's most respected psychologists, discovered through decades of research something that can radically change how you relate to men. And today, you'll learn that secret. But first, I need to tell you something that may sound alarming. Most women are currently doing exactly the opposite of what truly works. They try too hard, work to prove their worth and compete for male attention in ways that actually make them unseen.
Have you felt that? Pouring your heart in, being the perfect partner, always available and understanding, and still not being chosen, still feeling like you aren't special to him. The ache of not being chosen is one of the deepest wounds a woman can carry. It's as if an inner voice whispers that you're not enough, that you must be prettier, younger, or more interesting. But what if that pain is actually a portal, a doorway to your real feminine power? What Walter Riso discovered flies in the face of what society teaches about seduction and relationships. It's so simple that once you grasp it, it feels obvious, yet so revolutionary that it can shift your life within days. Imagine knowing precisely how to be so that every man perceives you as the most fascinating woman he has ever met, not through tricks or manipulation, but authentically, from your most sacred core. The woman who masters this secret doesn't need to compete, diminish herself, or overexert. She simply inhabits her feminine wholeness, and men are drawn to that energy, as if to an invisible magnet. Today, you will learn this secret, understand why it works, and, most importantly, discover exactly how to put it into practice. Because it is time to stop accepting crumbs of attention. It's time to be chosen, not as one option among others, but as the choice, the singular one. Before I reveal this secret that can transform your relationships, I need you to stay with me on this path. If you've come this far, your heart has already recognized the truth in what I'm sharing. Click the bell and subscribe to the channel because the next few minutes might be the most important of your love life. And in the comments, write just one word: chosen. That word carries powerful intention. When you write chosen, you declare to the universe that you're ready to receive this sacred knowledge. You affirm that you deserve to be the woman who is chosen, not merely an option. Write chosen now, because doing so activates something within you. It prepares your heart to embrace the transformation that's on its way. Every word you write is a seed planted in the soil of your new romantic reality. To grasp this secret, I must take you on a journey into the depths of the male psyche, where Walter Riso found something few dared to examine. Over 40 years, Riso observed thousands of relationships, couples wildly in love, men who gave up everything for a woman, connections that felt almost enchanted. He began to notice a pattern, one that challenged conventional logic. The women who were truly chosen were not necessarily the most beautiful, the youngest, or the most successful. There was something else. Something invisible to the eye, yet as potent as a force of nature. Riso called it feminine magnetic presence. But what does that actually mean? And why do some women seem to have it from an early age, while others spend their lives searching for it? The answer lies buried deep within the primal strata of our nature. When a man meets a woman, something stirs. An ancient mechanism awakens, beyond reason or logic, as if an old part of his brain recognizes something sacred in the feminine. But here's the problem. Modern society has distorted this natural dance. We've been taught to compete like men, to prove our worth through conquest, to be strong in ways that pull us away from our truest power. Have you noticed that when you try to impress a man, he starts to drift? When you strain to be perfect, his interest recedes. That's no coincidence. It's because you're moving against your deepest nature.
At his core, a man doesn't want to be impressed. He wants to be inspired. He isn't seeking a rival, he longs for a complement. That distinction is crucial. Rizzo found there is a feminine state that functions like a gateway, a portal that links you to your purest essence and simultaneously awakens something in him, something he didn't even know he was looking for. This state cannot be faked or mimicked. It's like trying to imitate the fragrance of a rose. It may seem close, but the soul can tell the difference. Think of the women you admire who carry that special presence. They aren't trying to stand out, they simply are. And in their being, there is a completeness that is profoundly attractive. So how do you arrive at this state? How do you recover that essence after years of learning to be something else? The journey begins with a paradox. To be chosen, you must choose yourself first. Not in a selfish or narcissistic sense, but in a truly sacred way. You must reconnect with the woman you were before the wounds, before the disappointments. The version of you who knows her worth without proof, who isn't afraid of vulnerability because she recognizes it as strength, who isn't afraid of love because she understands that real love doesn't diminish, it multiplies.
Walter Rizzo calls this the return to the sacred feminine. And when a woman makes her way back to herself, something extraordinary unfolds. She becomes like a lighthouse. Men can perceive her radiance from afar, but not every man can bear that brilliance. Insecure men feel threatened. Immature men feel unworthy. Only the man ready for true love can approach without fear. And that is the beauty of it. When you act from this sacred place, you automatically attract the right men. You stop drawing in those who only want to play. You stop attracting the emotionally unavailable. Instead, you call in men who are ready to choose, to commit, and to love. This does not make you passive nor submissive. On the contrary, you grow strong in a way few understand. Strong without aggression, firm without hardness, confident without arrogance. The woman who has integrated this secret moves through the world differently. She speaks differently. She loves differently. And men feel that difference in every fiber of their being. But what exactly is the secret? What is the one shift that changes everything? The answer will surprise you, because it isn't something you do for him, it's something you do for yourself. And paradoxically, that's precisely what makes him choose you above all others. The secret Walter Rizzo distilled after decades of study can be expressed in a single word: surrender. Not surrender as weakness, but surrender as the bravest act a woman can choose. When you surrender to your true feminine nature, you stop fighting the current and begin to flow with it. And within that flow, you become irresistible. What does surrender really mean? It means releasing the need to control outcomes. It means ending the compulsion to force love. It means trusting that when you are authentically yourself, the right love will find its way to you. In day-to-day life, The woman who surrenders stops doing what most women instinctively do when they like a man. She's not constantly available. She doesn't rush to fix his problems. She no longer sacrifices herself to prove her value. Instead, she does something revolutionary. She keeps her life full and vibrant, whether he is present or not. She becomes like a paradise island in the ocean of life, whole unto herself and magnetic. A man senses this immediately. His deeper instincts recognize that she doesn't need him, yet she chooses to want him. And it's precisely that difference that stirs something within the male psyche. The desire to pursue awakens, not to conquer, but to become worthy of her.
Let me offer a concrete example. Maria was 45 and had spent a decade trying to win back her ex-husband. She did everything for him. She was perpetually available, forever trying to prove she was the perfect woman. He drifted in and out, never truly choosing her. When Maria uncovered this secret, she did something that felt impossible. She stopped. She stopped calling. She stopped being constantly accessible. She stopped solving his problems. Instead, she started truly living her own life. She returned to painting, something she had set aside long ago. She began traveling alone. She forged new friendships and resurrected her dreams. And something almost magical happened. The more whole she became without him, the more he longed for her. A few months later, he stood at her door asking for another chance. Not because she reshaped herself for him, but because she had become a woman he could not forget. Here's the deepest layer of the secret. Letting go is not a tactic, not a game, and not playing hard to get. It is an authentic internal shift. It's about being so deeply connected to yourself that you naturally radiate an energy no one can resist.
Walter Riso describes 3 pillars of this sacred surrender. The first is emotional independence. That doesn't mean you don't want love or connection. It means your sense of completeness doesn't depend on any particular man. The second pillar is conscious presence. When you're with a man, you're fully present in the moment. When you're not, you aren't mentally spiraling around him. Your life remains rich and interesting regardless of whether he's part of it. The third pillar is unconditional self-love. You love yourself not because of achievements or external validation, but simply for who you are. This self-love is like an invisible perfume that naturally draws in real love. When these 3 pillars align, something extraordinary occurs. You become like a flame, and men are like moths drawn to your light. But here's the most important part. This is not about manipulating men. It's about returning to your true self. From there, you naturally attract men who are on the same path of growth. The right man for you is the one who recognizes and cherishes your wholeness, who doesn't want to shrink you but wants to grow with you, who sees your independence not as a threat but as a gift.
And that's where the miracle happens. When you stop chasing love and start embodying it, love begins to chase you. When you stop trying to be someone else and choose yourself, when you begin to love yourself, you become irresistible to the people who truly matter. This works at any age, whether you've been single for a long time or have just ended a relationship. It applies whether you want to rekindle a connection or attract a new love. Because the key doesn't lie in your outward circumstances, it lies in your inner transformation. The woman who masters this sacred surrender never begs for love, never accepts crumbs, and never settles for half-hearted relationships. She becomes selective, not from pride, but from wisdom. She recognizes her love as sacred, something to be honored. And the man fortunate enough to win the heart of such a woman knows he has found a treasure. He does not take her for granted.
because he can feel that she is consciously choosing him every single day. That conscious choice creates a love that is deep and enduring. This is the secret that can transform your love life forever. It's not about becoming someone else. It's about being who you truly are, without masks, without games, without fear. Once you see this truth, you cannot unsee it. Once you touch your authentic feminine power, you can no longer accept anything less than what you genuinely deserve. Let me be honest, this transformation isn't easy. It runs against much of what we've been taught about love and relationships. You'll need to unlearn patterns you've carried for years. You'll have to release the belief that you must strive desperately to be loved. You'll have to let go of the idea that your worth depends on male approval. You'll need to face the fear that you might be alone if you stop chasing him. And here is the most daunting step. You'll need to trust. Trust that when you are truly yourself, the right love will find you. Trust that you deserve a love you never have to beg for. Trust that there is someone who will choose you, not despite who you are, but because of who you are, exactly because of who you are.
The fruits of this inner shift are remarkable. Picture waking each day knowing you are complete with or without a man by your side. Imagine the freedom to love without fear, without clinging, without trying to control the outcome. Envision entering a relationship not to fill a void, but to share your rich, full life with someone special. Imagine being loved for your truest self, not for a persona you perform. That change ripples through everything. At work, you stop seeking endless validation and begin trusting your own voice. With your girlfriends, you stop competing and start celebrating one another. With yourself, you build a loving, respectful relationship that becomes the foundation for all the others. And here's something Riso identified in his research. Women who take this journey back to themselves don't just attract better partners, they create better relationships, more stable, more enduring, and more fulfilling. Why? Because once you are no longer dependent on a relationship to feel whole, you're capable of truly loving. You can give without draining yourself. You can receive without feeling you owe something. You can disagree without fearing abandonment. You can be vulnerable without being terrified of being hurt.
A man in a relationship with such a woman senses this immediately. He doesn't feel the pressure of being her only source of happiness. He doesn't tiptoe around, afraid to disappoint her. He can be himself, and he can love freely. Paradoxically, this path also makes you far more selective. Men who once seemed appealing will reveal their emotional immaturity. Relationships you once tolerated will become unacceptable. And that is a blessing. When you elevate your inner standards, you naturally attract people who are at the same level. You stop drawing in time wasters and begin attracting men who are ready for mature, intentional love. Some women worry about this filtering. What if I end up alone, they ask. Here's the truth. It is better to be whole and alone than together and empty. It is better to experience one extraordinary love than a series of mediocre connections. And the reality is, once you arrive at this state of inner completeness, you rarely remain alone for long. Your magnetic energy naturally draws in people who are also growing.
Imagine how this will reshape your conversations with men. Instead of trying to impress or please, you'll simply be authentic. Instead of obsessing over what he thinks, you'll be genuinely curious about who he is. Instead of wondering whether he'll call, you'll be busy living your vibrant life. This shift is instantly perceptible. A man can feel when he's in the presence of a woman who knows and values herself, and that awakens in him a deep desire to rise to meet her. And here's the most beautiful part. This transformation is contagious. When you begin to truly love yourself, you inspire other women to do the same. When you stop competing and start collaborating,
you elevate the entire feminine energy around you. Your girlfriends will notice the shift, your family will feel the difference, and the men in your life will respond in ways that may surprise you. An ex who had lost interest may suddenly return. A colleague who was always merely polite may begin to show sincere interest. New men may enter your life in unexpected ways. But here's what will matter most. You will no longer accept just any attention. You will decide, consciously, where to invest your emotional energy. You will offer your appreciation only to men who demonstrate they are ready for the kind of love you bring.
That is the greatest outcome of this secret. You will never again settle for less than you deserve. A woman who knows herself radiates a power that cannot be overlooked. A woman who truly loves herself attracts love that is real. A woman who chooses herself every single day will, at the right moment, be chosen by the right man. If this message stirred something within you, if you can feel a quiet revolution beginning, share it with other women who need to hear it. Share it with your friends, your sisters, your daughters. Because when one woman awakens to her true power, she helps awaken all the others. And if you're ready to go deeper, to fully immerse yourself in this transformation, don't miss the next video appearing on your screen. Click the card and continue this journey toward greater self-awareness and feminine power. Because you deserve to be chosen. You deserve to be loved. You deserve a love that celebrates who you are, not one that merely tolerates you.